Personalization is already in place. As we talk, actually, to a large extent, most of the banks have done the bit. They have profiled the customer very well.
The conversation we have started is, and where I would ask your viewers also to go and share their wishes on yesteamindia.com. So we are curating all the wishes together and giving it to the team over there.
Wow.
Through Indian Olympics Association.
India's the banks primarily, are so strong and so well regulated for the right reasons.
If he's on a telecom, he or she is on a telecom network, it can authenticate without any OTP landing on the user's handset.
We have so many talent in the country.
Our country itself is talented, I would put it across this way.
The Olympics participation in itself is a very different.
It's very different, and this was not centric to our customer. As I said, it was centric to India.
Not only that you want to go and update your passbook or get a new checkbook or deposit something, you had, relationship with the folks there who were serving, That I guess is, is changing a bit.
Nipun, Tushar, very nice talking to you. And, we are in the midst of monsoon and some good news and updates for the economy that are coming in. And in that, it's great to be talking to Yes Bank because Yes Bank, there's a lot of respect. There's a lot of innovation that India has seen through Yes Bank, and Nipun, you are heading the overall marketing over here. So great to be having this conversation. And Tushar, Route Mobile, we recently did the interview, a great, phenomenal MarTech, CPaaS, and whatever communication and customer engagement that B2B enterprises need happens through you. Nipun, tell me about the rebranding of Yes Bank.
30th May 2023 is when we launched our refreshed branding. And it's now more than a year. A lot of hard work went behind, launching the refreshed branding. It was not something we just wanted to do it, but I think the Yes Bank 2.0 or the Yes Bank of today needed a fresh change. Extensive activity with stakeholders in terms of understanding, how they feel about the brand, what is that the brand attributes are required. So first and foremost, what you see the refresh logo with the soaring tick of the bird, it's not sharp and edgy anymore. The colors are digitally friendly because a lot goes on the digital piece. Yeah. And more modern and more fresh as a brand, and a brand which is like really come off the tough times and been very resilient. So I think that's what the genesis for the refresh brand was. We did the refresh brand, got a lot of compliments from our customers. I think that matters the most. They were very happy. Our other stakeholders were also very happy, and all our 1100 plus branches are with the new signage, face. Our digital assets are with the new signages and face and the design language. And then we launched the campaign, which was Life Ko Banao Rich. So all has gone pretty well on that, and life is rich at Yes Bank.
It went through ups and downs, but there's such a stability and there's such a soaring, there's a positivity around the bank and with the branding itself that stands out, right? मतलब अच्छे दिन दिख रहे हैं और थे tough दिन it somewhere added to the resilience story of Yes Bank.
Absolutely. So, I think the management and the leadership, and especially Prashant and Rajan, who's our executive director, they have been holding the fort, and many other people. I mean, I have a real list to talk about that. But they were very much focused. I think there was a lot of support from all corners for the bank. And good part is the customers still believed in it. And I think that was the backbone. And we did lose out a few customers, but all of them are back. And the new ones are also back. So I think the brand is doing pretty well. The bank is doing great.
Tushar, you are working, Nipun is talking about customers, and you are working with such large set of customers across the world and here in India, and with a lot of banks who have a lot of customers. Tell us about this customer engagement in this new evolving digital world.
It's okay. Let me give you a quick background of what Root Mobile is about. So we have a CPaaS platform, which is basically a cloud-based platform where any channel, starting from SMS to WhatsApp to voice, RCS is an upcoming channel which is introduced by Google, and many others such are available. So you latch onto this platform and you're able to reach out to your end customer for any communication you intend to make on them. Now, this is evolving, over last few years, and something interesting has happened around, some channels on WhatsApp and RCS. Which was all this while a one-way communication, has become evolving as a conversation channel, where you can have queries, you can have information you want to seek, for which earlier, if I have to talk in bank's perspective, you were going to a branch. You for your passbook updates,
Oh my
for
God,
your
this is
check
childhood
requests.
era. Yes.
All
Apni
of this,
passport hai nahi.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, look, these actually had, not only made life easy for the users. In fact, it helped the banking sector as such. It's offloaded a lot of transactions which were happening at the branch. Now we talk, it's becoming more of a branchless banking, to a large extent. So this is, one evolution which has happened on the banking sector side. But you can imagine multiple such use cases which can actually be offloaded on these channels. RCS is another, channel which is introduced by Google, has similar capability what WhatsApp's got, right? Again, you can do conversation in them. Voice is evolving. So, interesting CCaaS platform. CCaaS is contact center as a solution, can allow your users to maybe initiate a conversation on voice and seamlessly move to a WhatsApp or RCS or email, any of the channels they want to further interact on. It also helps bank to store a lot of information about the user. Now, if a user was irate last time when they called, you prepare the agent to tackle those queries effectively. At the same time, in this call center, also to a certain extent is automating the responses. So if you latch onto this, this bot, and you have few queries on the last transaction or last issue you had with the bank, so they prepare you better. They prepare the agent better. So these are certain things which is not only helping banking but other sectors as well.
I use the word evolving, but it's not, it's already evolved and very, very evolved, is that all the communication requirements and all the channels and platforms and solutions that are needed is being provided by Root Mobile.
Yes, it is. And look, this is something I'm sure people have experienced already. We're taking it a step further that through AI and NLP, a lot can be done by a random question triggered by a user. At this point of time, when you have any interaction with the user, these are largely automated. So I may ask, which is the closest branch to my residence. It'll give you the options of branches closest to your, residence. Now, if I have a very random question to ask, the platform should be able to first interpret the question in which language I am trying to communicate with you. I may have been using some slang, and raising that query. So the platform to first interpret and then respond effectively is the new capability we're trying to build on a platform. And also at certain point, if we sense that the bot may not be capable or is in position to respond to the query effectively, we seamlessly hand it over to an agent. So we're trying to go further and see how we can simplify things for enterprises, banks. So that's what the efforts are on.
You have, the old customers, the new customers, the evolving customers, if I may say so, the hybrid customers who lived in a different banking environment to now. How do you look at customer engagement?
So for us, as we say at ETB, which is the existing to bank customers, we are a mass affluent bank, and we fortunately have segments across the age bands. So you have people who are retired, senior citizens, to even the young, so what they call Gen Zs of the world. Now, what we have done is we have a strategy in terms of reaching out to these specific customers, because what is a comfortable way of reaching out to one may not be for the other. Also, what we also keep in mind is where the trust, because it's all about money when people are transacting. Although the youngsters would be far comfortable doing it on WhatsApp, if you go for WhatsApp banking, the senior citizen may not be. To give you an example, one of person I know, his son was asking him what is DD, because he's never heard of DD, and it's a teenager. It's not a kid.
We'll be the era who would know this.
Yeah. So and this guy is a banker. So he was surprised. He says, you don't know what is a DD? He says, no, I read in one of the forms, submit a DD. What is that? Who gives it? So you have one set of these customers also, and then you have other senior citizens who would love to go to the branch, meet the branch manager, get his passbook updated, and although the Iris, which is our app, which is a premium app for customers to engage for transacting, they have that also, but they want to sit across the branch manager and do that. So you have all sorts of segmentations and all sorts of requirements. So we have a very robust MarTech tool which we leverage in terms of right from the analytics, or when we want to target a specific customer, we run propensity models in terms of when it is an ETB, that what product is the next best action for him, what will be the best medium to send, as could be an SMS, or could be a rich content on the SMS, or WhatsApp, or email. So the MarTech tool also helps you to know that when to send, what time to send, and whom to send. So a lot of people talk about personalization. I think what the world is moving is to hyper personalization, and a lot of conversations are happening around the generative AI piece of it. So it's yet to come. Will you be fully dependent on generative AI right now? Difficult to say, because we are a regulated entity. What communication goes out to the customer has to be double checked. Data has to be secured, and how this is going to move, let's see. So as far as Yes Bank is concerned, we have the best of the tools in terms of analytics, segmentation, and reach out. And we have a very, I wouldn't say hyper personalized, or more of a personalized kind of a communication.
Yeah. But listening to you, I'm just thinking that, we forget that for a bank, the customer's cohort segment would be so different.
Yes.
It's so varied.
It's very varied. It is product level very varied.
Yeah.
So if you just take a savings account, so at the high end, which is just by invite, is Yes Private. And then we also have is Yes Prosperity, Yes Premia, Yes Grandeur, which is a new product. So it's across. Again, it is to a specific segment.
Yeah.
So the communication styling also has to be in a specific segment manner.
Yeah. Tushar, what do you have to say on the personalization?
One is personalization is already in place. As we talk, actually, to a large extent, most of the banks have done the bit. They have profiled the customer very well. They sense exactly, what the requirements are, what a preference of that user is. Their communication to them is very personalized. So they know exactly what is the investment habits of this user, what kind of product will be picked up by this user. So that is already happening. But, GenAI, what was, mentioned a while back, I think is going to be very, very interesting. It will not only give you deep insights, it can actually open up so much of information which can be made available to the end user. Imagine a question like that if a user says, I want to understand how much TDS was deducted on the FD which I matured last month. Now, for you to go to a call center and try to understand this, it'd be absolutely impossible, right? To get a sense of, why was it deducted. Now, this information will be available. But then, of course, we have to look at the framework, the legal framework, the regulatory framework, whether this will, allow the bank to communicate this information to them or not. That's a separate story. But GenAI will give you that deep insights on the user. Of course, apart from that RBF, which regulates most of the banking sector, there is another DPDP Act which is to be tabled, which is tabled already. But I guess it's not been notified as yet. When I say notified as yet, means that the rules have not been shared with to the public as yet. Now, that perhaps will give us a sense of what kind of consent I need to secure before I communicate a certain information to a user. Now, but But GenAI, I guess, will open the next level, next service levels, you know, for banks, for any enterprise, and so much can be done.
Yeah, no,
Perhaps.
that as a consumer, as a very layman consumer, I would say so much.
Yeah. Yes. Right.
Can I have a question to ask? Banks, this call center thing, is it still the most prevalent communication channel use?
It still is, it's only that, there are multiple channels to it. Then voice only. We perceive call center as a voice center, where typically voice calls are terminated. Like it's moving on, as I said a while back that, we integrating all possible channels to this platform. Contact center is a solution platform. It allows you to use any channel which a user is comfortable with. As you mentioned a while back, that DD is something which was not, acknowledged by a teenager who doesn't understand this. For them, text is the best way to reach to a bank or any enterprise whom they're dealing with for any response or any query. Here, this platform allows you to use any channel which you're comfortable with. So yes, it's evolving to accommodate, acknowledge any channel which the user is comfortable with. So from email to RCS, WhatsApp, anything, it's all available on this platform.
Nipun, what would you say in terms of the generative AI?
So AI has been there for long. I think the new thing which everyone is experimenting right now is generative AI.
Yeah.
At Yes Bank, we are also trying POCs with 2 or 3 different models on generative AI. Say, for example, in campaign management and creatives, to hyper personalize. So it's still at an experiment stage. It is still something where the actual usage is going to take some time because, as you said, RBI is given some guidances to us in terms of what communication can go to a customer in what style. Yeah. Secondly, you cannot automate totally because as we speak today, you do need a human interaction in between to know and double check what is going out to the customer, what information is going. Is the creative culture is sensitive or not? Generative AI can create a creative and give it to you, but if it offends someone, there is not cultural sensitivity. So those things are still little open. I hope this will be better off as we go along. Way other technologies have happened, whether it was the initial start of MarTech. It will pick up, but I think let's be very conscious, especially from the financial services side, how we want to take this up. Yes, internal communication to employees, creating a bot where as an HR I can ask questions. Or for marketing also, I would say that, the way we brief our agency, so you used to have a briefing note earlier, you write down everything. But I think in addition to that is what if you create with the help of generative AI a right brief and sum it pictorially so that the creative person knows exactly what's in your mind and what is that you want. And then of course they'll do their value add to it. So right now these are the 2 case studies what are actually some bit implemented. But for customer communication using generative AI, we have just started few POCs. Let's see how they go.
We have such a robust financial institutions in our country, when it comes this sector. India's financial, the banks primarily, are so strong and so well regulated for the right reasons.
So even when the economic crisis happened in say 2007, I think it was the Indian banks which were absolutely resilient, and thanks to the regulator who has a forethought as well and is also securing the customers and the banks. Yeah. So I mean, yeah. So I think we have a great regulator and a great structure, and all of us are binding and they are strict. Yes, they are, but because you are dealing with people's monies.
One is in terms of taking care, and taking care comes in different shapes and forms, and one is in terms of the quality of service that we provide. And I want you to tell us, Tushar, how do you think about that in your Route Mobile?
Recently, because we've been talking about RBI and the regulator, so they came up and Shaktikanta Das, who's our governor, he said that why don't you look at alternate measure to OTP? Now we've been actually using OTP. There've been some instances here and there, strange, where there've been some misuse of this channel. Now we're working with RBI, we're working with them along with a couple of banks on their sandbox to create an alternate measure of authentication. So we're constantly working on improving the quality which we deliver to our bank or to other enterprise partners. This is very interesting because the entire authentication of the user will happen seamlessly where no OTP shall be delivered. This will, of course, have some riders that the user has to be on a telecom network. If he's on a telecom, he or she is on a telecom network, it can authenticate without any OTP landing on the user's handset. So we've also have certain intelligence product which can give some very deep insights to any bank. The entire premise here is that the telecom operators whom we partner and work very closely with have a lot of information about the users. They have created cohorts, they have deep insights on the behavior. Like banking themselves have a certain degree of information about their account holders. Now imagine that this is coupled with the information which is sitting with telecom operators, because telecom operators they have huge amount of information about the users. Practically all transactions are happening through their gateways. Now couple this together, the information you're sitting on is huge. We can give deep insights on the user profile also alongside. But again, I mentioned a while back about DPDP. Now DPDP again is something we are looking forward to understand, and if we are able to comply alongside, we have certain very interesting product coming to India market.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah.
When do you anticipate that?
Look, the products are under POC, but we can look up to
the POC is
under POC stage.
Yeah.
We're looking at the regulator. We're getting a tick mark from them. If they say yes, it's okay to be taking it to the market, we of course will.
Wow. Now with this, I come to rapid fire segment, and to both of you, I'll ask a question and you have to answer very crisply. What's the most creative way you've seen a brand start a conversation with its customers? And don't say your own brand.
I think our campaign of Milkar Jitayenge, which is where we are the principal sponsors for the Indian Olympics contingent for Paris 2024. I think the conversation we have started is, and where I would ask your viewers also to go and share their wishes on yesteamindia.com. So we are curating all the wishes together and giving it to the team over there.
Wow.
Through Indian Olympics Association. And this has been a great starter rather than as a bank every time going and saying, this is an innovative product or this is what I stand for. I think here what we have done is as a brand is this is what India stands for, and we are just being a part of it to support. So I think that's a great initiative.
Yeah, and this gets in everyone.
Yes.
Like all cohort of customers.
All cohort of customers, length and breadth of the country, and if you see the amount of effort each player has put to come to that level.
Yes.
And their surround system, whether it's their parents or coach, we were the unsung heroes. So we are saying India as a country and the support system, Milkar, we will ensure our players win.
But I'm so happy, Nipun, because somewhere I just think other than cricket, in fact I had done a reel which has gone viral. I was just saying that we need to celebrate most. We have so many talent in the country.
Our country itself is talented, I would put it across this way. So wherever you touch, you will find talent and cuisine and language.
Yeah. And you're celebrating that, that's fantastic.
We are celebrating that. So I think that's a great conversation with our consumers.
Yeah.
I've seen certain brands publishing QR codes, and you scan it and you head to a OTT channel where you can start communicating with them. I find it so effective. People using smartphone, for them it's so easy now to get onto because of UPI. Again, thanks to UPI, you have to scan a QR code all the time. So that is, I see, is a very interesting way of starting communication, because else you have to store the number of the brand, then look up, whether it's available on this channel, not channel, and this, scan it, and boom, you're on with them to interact with them. I find it very, very novel and interesting.
And don't you think that we in India, we are so advanced because of all these APIs and technologies that
absolutely.
we have? Yeah. What's one quirky thing you'd add to a customer feedback form to make it more engaging?
Air of, filling a customer query form anymore, because everything is so digitized. And with the new generation, they are not very much fond of filling up forms, even if it is online. They love giving the feedback directly to you, either on the email or right down in the social. So I think monitoring social and receiving the emails is far more important. You get some fantastic feedback from customers.
I guess for prompt feedback, you should have a red face, which is an angry face, and a huggy face, So I mean, those are good emojis to actually use, to get instant feedback,
Yeah.
Typically, even after, if not so good experience, people don't tend to, latch onto an email or a WhatsApp to write back the feedback. But I guess, if you have a simpler way of communicating, it becomes, it gives you some sense, if I have a red face, and I would immediately follow up with few
But Tushar, tell me
questions.
something. Do people take on red face?
No, if I'm,
You're very nice
if the
people as
experience is gross, then perhaps I would of course go and click the red face, and then I guess the brand would love to follow up, with a link or some follow up questions, or giving him some 10% discount voucher next time. So yeah, we just get a good sense of
It's being regulated, I can't give any discounts. I have to treat everybody fairly. But as a bank, and I'm sure most of the banks and brands do the regular NPS studies.
Yeah.
So Net Promoter Score studies are done, and which give a fantastic insights. Rest through online reputation management systems and hearing tools. We do get a lot of feedback where the consumer really doesn't want to put it as a complaint, but sometimes as a suggestion or some issues that they have. So
in the MarTech, to both of you, one of the things that you would have seen change in your career is that today an upset customer goes to a Twitter or goes to this thing and doesn't hesitate in giving a feedback. No?
Absolutely. So that's why I said, hearing the younger generation online is far more easier. I think the ratios are changing from online feedback versus the form or asking a question. So it's no more I ask and you tell. It is that here you listen to me.
Yeah.
So here it becomes imperative for a brand actually after every transaction, which is a high value or high involvement transaction, to send a trigger and take a feedback. Because before he could go on to a social media and post something which is offensive, if you can block it there through a response, it'd be actually great. So a high involvement transaction, it's a must to do thing for any enterprise.
Yeah. How would you describe the perfect customer conversation in 3 words?
Yeah, I mean, that will be a nirvana stage when my customer says, I love you. But yes, all of us are working towards that because we love our customers. It's one way, and that sometimes it's 2 ways.
Yeah.
We want more of 2 ways.
Yeah. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received about starting conversations with customers?
I think more important is, you tell me, because he's the one who's consuming your brand. Yeah. So instead of serving a buffet to him, give him an a la carte. Please tell me, where am I right and where am I wrong? I think so. Listening is
makes so much
most critical.
Yeah.
So instead of getting we're so obsessed with what we are bringing to the table that we lose the perspective of what the other side expects from us. So we bombarding that with information. The guy says, "Guys, you're not even listening to me." So listening is such a
If you could create a fun, interactive marketing campaign, what would it involve?
I think we are trying to do that every time, and that's what our KPI or bread and butter as a marketing team is, that how we can have more conversation, more interesting and more fun-filled, because and we know where the limits of fun-filled are, because again, the product that we sell, we have to stay within the realms because it's a serious business. End of the day, banking is serious. But wherever we get leeways, whether it is on our social handles or when we are giving out offers on credit card transactions, wherever we can play, we play a lot of transactions.
But I just think your Olympics participation in itself is a very different.
It's very different, and this was not centric to our customer. As I said, it was centric to India.
We're a B2B company, so I don't know how we designed one. But yes, which anything which can get the customer to the table is anything which can get the customer to the table is something we'll work on. So and most of the time it's some % discounts.
What's a surprising fact about banking that most people don't know?
Banking is not about just money matters and transactions. It is beyond banking as well. Yes Bank, if I talk about Yes Bank, it is, a little on the serious side of it. When it is startups, When it is MSMEs, we offer an entire bouquet which may not be even part of the banking product. Say, for example, if somebody wants payroll processing software or somebody wants to do a transaction outside, any legal advice is required. So we do extend that piece. On our savings product, whether it is not a linked health product but the advisory on it. And so I think banking, what people do understand, and the younger generations, demand is also beyond banking. So I think that's what we are trying to fulfill.
What's one banking trend you're secretly excited or worried about?
The way customer communication and styling is changing, and the customer's needs are changing. No more he's ready to read 150 words letter or something. Everything is going instant.
Yeah.
And these are those Amazonites or Flipkarts or Spotifys, and also somewhere on digital space, that's our competition in a kind of manner in terms of how the user interfaces. So that's exciting. How do we achieve that, keeping as other aspects of transaction in mind? And that also, when things are too exciting, you tend to not sleep on that.
So as a user, I'd like to add that, we're personalizing of course, all our efforts are towards personalizing or profiling the user. But, a couple of decades back, banks happened to be a socializing point also. When you visit a branch, it was more not only that you want to go and update your passbook or get a new checkbook or deposit something. You had, relationship with the folks there who were serving, That I guess is changing a bit.
If you could instantly master any new marketing tool or trend, what would it be?
It's interesting, but we'd like to pick more insights in the behavior of a user instantly. If I'm able to predict, by the tone of the user, if I can get a sense of his mood when he's on an interaction with me, it will help me customize the solution much better.
If banking were a sport, what would be its most exciting play?
Checkmate. I have a checkbook. Checkmate,
I think it's the amalgamation of multiple sports. And I think somewhere that's why we got Olympics as well.
What's the best piece of advice you've received about marketing in the banking sector?
I think from marketing per se, if I say, because I've been in automobile and sector as well as financial services sector and banking now, piece of advice has remained the same, is that one, you should know your customer in terms of the customer trends and a good knowledge about your product. I think if you don't have a good knowledge about your own product, when I'm saying good knowledge in terms of a decent amount of knowledge, you may not be the specialist or a equity master to do that. And ears always have to be on the ground. Sitting in a room, you cannot decide for millions.
What keeps you very excited about the India story?
Evolution is happening at such pace that, keep yourself abreast to them, ensuring that you understand the dynamic or the changing requirement of your users, of your enterprises, and keep adapting quickly is something which keeps us excited and keeps bringing us back to work day after day. We work very closely with our R&D teams to keep giving them these scopes, these inputs, and ensuring that we are up there. There's so much happening around communication, so many things happening around various forms of communication. Email was seen, we talked about RCS, WhatsApp, A2P SMS, but we never spoke about email in this interaction. Email is becoming a tool where on the interface of the email, you can complete a e-com transaction. If a user wants to understand that on the, again, interface of email without leaving the email interface, that for a loan which I want to take from a bank at this interest rate, which is variable, what will be my EMI? It can be all done there. So there's so much happening around these various communication channels, keeping yourself updated and meeting the changing demands of enterprise is something keep us absolutely on our toes.
I think if you see over the last decade or so, the way the country has progressed in terms of whether we take it in infrastructure or whether we take it in terms of the new avenues coming up or the push for the startup ecosystem. I mean, that's been a great story over the last 10 years, and I think it's not far where we'll be the third largest economy. I think good part is people are also talking about the being from a developing to a developed country, what they say Viksit Bharat, which encompasses a lot of things.
Yeah.
So and it is not an industry or a government based initiative. I think it's overall. So we're going to see a lot of new trends coming with the central part of the age band ballooning. We'll be the youngest nation. So imagine what kind of demands and what kind of trends will change. I mean,
Yeah.
today we might follow the West, but who knows? Maybe a few years down the line, it's going to be reverse.
Thank you so much. I think we had a very, very interactive conversation, and I'm hoping that this will be very useful for a lot of folks out there.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much.
Thank you.
Thanks.